God, I'm so sorry. See, this is why I get myself into trouble with taking these huge leaps. Pumpy Duggertoot. Pardon me. Boy, your sister got out of Houston just in time. There are 1 million people without power in the greater Houston, Texas area because of Hurricane Beryl barreling through the city. Beryl. I was explaining to my daughter, and we were watching some of the coverage. We were just watching the nightly news last night, and I was explaining that they do, hurricane season, they do in alphabetical order. I was surprised that they were only up to B, although they did mention that this is the earliest that a hurricane of this magnitude, I guess, has blown through first the Caribbean and then into the United States. But Hurricane Beryl blew through Houston, and they have 1 million people right now without power, which is no fun. I think it's pretty safe to say that's no fun.
No fun at all.
If you're living
No
down
fun.
there. One of the major power companies down there is asking people to not call them and tell them that they don't have power. That's their way. That's their way of saying we know that there's widespread damage. I think people are also angry because in a very Ted Cruz fashion, I think the governor of Texas posted about the vacation that he was on. Greg Abbott, of course. And it's always fun. Well, it's not fun to see this happen. But if you're a wonky kind of person when it comes to politics, it's always fun to see red state governors begging the government for disaster funds after they spend the rest of the time pissing all over blue states and people who actually contribute the money to help those red states invariably. But, yeah, Houston, it's well documented, obviously. It's a tough city to live in when there's storms coming through because there's nowhere for that water to go. And so the company that is trying to restore power to over 1 million people there in Houston, they've got the crews out there. They get people from other states. It's when they tell people, hey, you got to boil your water. You ever lived somewhere where you were under a boil order?
No.
Never been in a situation like that?
Well, the Philippines.
That's what I'm saying. You live in the Philippines. They probably had boilers all the time.
We had,
probably a standing order.
Yeah, it was just, they didn't have to, say, boil the water. Like, either boil the water or run it through a filter or something.
Yeah, they knew.
Yeah. Don't drink it straight from
They weren't
the tap.
airdropping Brita pitchers?
No.
How was PutInBay? Didn't you guys go to PutInBay?
Yeah, that was fun.
Was the weather...
it was great, actually.
Yeah,
so
okay.
it rained that morning.
This was on Saturday?
This was Saturday in June still. The 20th.
A week ago, first Saturday we were
when you were doing the Hawaii giveaway,
yeah.
That was the day
okay.
that we went out there. So we went out, got on the 115 ferry. Now, the weather was nice, but the water, oh, man.
Choppy.
It was as choppy as I've ever been on. And that ferry, when you're on is not the funnest boat to be on when it's choppy. Like when you're on, what's the new one?
You ferry.
We had the Nautica Queen, but what's the new?
Lady Caroline.
Lady Caroline.
You ferry.
When it's choppy, that boat's so big, you're not really getting rocked around too much. But on that ferry, man, it was crazy.
Yeah.
And it was worse
You
on the
feel
way
it.
back because I don't know if you've ever been on the boat when it's wobbling so much that the bell rings. It's kind of scary.
You got like a 40-degree list to port.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was listing back and forth, and I'm hanging on, trying not to get sick. I'm getting sick thinking about it right now.
You didn't have any Dramamine with it? You probably
No.
didn't anticipate that.
No, I didn't because I've taken the ferry before and it was fine. But the captain I've never seen someone laughing so maniacally as when we're everybody on the boat's oh, and he's just having the time of his life.
Because he knows. He's
Yeah,
like,
he knows
we'll be
that.
fine. Yeah.
He's like, I've been through way worse than this.
Yep.
Sunday morning, you guys are just hungover. That's why you're so sick. But it was a full ferry, like every single, like they packed full of cars, and just that going back and forth, and that was brutal. But the rest of the time was very fun. It was a good trip out to PutInBay.
So PutInBay in your 40s is still fun?
Yeah. Well, we stayed at Middle Bass Island, so we got our place in Middle Bass, and then took the water taxi to PutInBay. We were there for about 4 or 5 hours, and then went back to Middle Bass, where it's way more chill. And honestly, most of the people in the pool were probably in their late 30s, early 40s anyway. Where we were, it was pirate weekend too.
Everybody kind of goes over to PutInBay, and then they repair over back to Middle Bass Island.
I mean, there is a large group of people that do that.
Right. Yeah.
So because the water taxi was packed both times on our way over and our way back.
And we're sure it's not Middle Bass Island, right?
It's at Middle Bass. Yes.
Okay.
But yeah, it was still fun, even in my 40s, Mary.
I'm just saying.
You wouldn't want to. I mean, if you were, there's no appeal for you because you're sober, but
Right.
you wouldn't want to go over there under normal circumstances. And
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I don't know that there's anything left there for me. I've done PutInBay several times.
yeah, I've still never made it.
had
We
my
went to
fun
Kelly's
with it.
Island. I've still never made it to PutInBay.
I feel like that's all you need. You still get like the little island experience. You stay in a little cottage.
Yep.
It's not people throwing up and passing out. And
Well, and that's
crashing golf
we were
carts and-
off PutInBay by 8:30, and like probably before then we probably left PutInBay around 7:30. So we weren't there for like the madness of everything. Like once the pool bars closed, we're like, we're getting out of here.
So you didn't see the drunk driver who hit the lady in the golf cart?
We did not see that. Woo-wee. I mean, Whew.
Drunk driver led the police on a chase around PutInBay
When was that?
and then hit a woman in a golf cart. A 29-year-old woman from Lebanon, Ohio, was airlifted. They said she wasn't seriously injured, but the EMS workers could only do so much for her, so they airlifted her. A 39-year-old Marion man is in custody out there. Early Sunday morning is what this says. About 1:30 a.m., police were called. The chase started. Reports that a man was assaulting a woman in front of PutInBay School. There's a school on PutInBay?
There's people who live there, dude.
People who live on PutInBay?
Yes. There's people who live on all those islands.
I mean, again, the only one I've been on is Kelly's Island, and I saw there was a school there, and we have friends whose parents have a house there, so I knew that there were. But I thought maybe Kelly's Island was like the residential island, and then PutInBay was just like Thunderdome or something.
I mean,
There's,
like
like,
I said, we were
natives.
out of there by 7:30, 8 o'clock, and back to our Middle Bass Island, which had like, a resort that we were kind of staying at that was, but it was very chill.
So
it wasn't like madness. We hung out at a pool bar, then we moved to another pool bar. It was a good time.
but you were getting pretty lit up.
Yeah, we definitely
That's
there
what I
was
mean,
definitely
so-
shenanigans, but it wasn't like, I don't know. I think the way that, when Mary would go there with her sisters and stuff, they would get to a different level.
Right.
I feel
we
like
went
than
there
what we do.
specifically to Blackout.
Right.
Yeah.
Your
Like,
your
we're gonna
memories
go
are
here.
of getting
Yes.
just
Yeah.
being
Yes.
poured into
That's the
a.
Yeah.
whole point.
Right.
I don't like to black out, and like it was me, Pants, and Tommy.
Well, then
Tommy got pretty drunk. She was gremlin mode, but
then under those circumstances, how do you guys determine it's time to head back?
What, Blackout?
No, Bill. Like, what's the switch that gets flipped where you go, okay?
it was the pool bars were closing, and we
Oh,
were
they
in
were.
swimwear. So we're like, you want to go to bars here in swimwear, or do you want to go back to our cottage and hang out there?
Oh, the pool bars are closing at 7 o'clock on PutInBay?
Yeah,
Really? Huh.
at least the one we were at.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, I don't know if they want them to open at night.
Again, I don't know how it works out there.
So much puke.
I did not see.
Into the water. You're talking about Mist? That's one of the, or at least it was. I haven't been there in years, but there was a pool bar on PutInBay called Mist that everybody went to, and I watched a dude. They had like a waterfall. I watched a dude stand over top of it and throw up into the waterfall.
I
Wait.
didn't
They had
see
to get
anything like
out.
that. I didn't. I people were having a good time and obviously drunk, but I didn't see anybody throw up in the water or anything like that. There was a guy when we went to the second one. It was at a hotel. It was like called Splash, I think. And they had a waterfall. I didn't see anybody throw up into it.
It's a mess.
Yeah. And there was a guy that was standing out front of it, and he was passed out on his feet. And I think
wobbling back and forth.
Yeah, he was wobbling back and forth. I think he was peeing because he was dripping pretty hard, and he wasn't that wet. So
it wasn't from his swim trunks?
No, I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we got, I don't know. I was kind of like the dad of the group because once I saw that Tommy wasn't there anymore, I was like, all right, well, I'm not gonna just make her keep drinking. She needs to go and lay down. And then we got back to the island and to Middle Bass, and I went and got food and brought it back, and she had already like climbed into bed. And I just like, okay, well, I'm gonna put your French fries in here. And she didn't say anything, but her hand just like slid out from under the blanket and like grabbed the French fries and pulled them back in.
She knew what was going on.
Yeah.
She could geolocate the fries.
It was pretty funny that Pants and I are pretty big guys, and Tommy's pretty little. But respectfully, we're like, okay, you can have the bed. And then there was a loft that had 2 beds where Pants and I were gonna stay, but it was a loft that had a very low ceiling, so 2 big burly dudes have to like crawl
Duck down to get into
or like roll over to get into the beds. But they were good beds. It was a good spot. It was fun.
Well,
I'll do it again.
Some dude at 1:30 in the morning on PutInBay somebody called the cops because they said this guy's beating this woman up.
Yeah.
And then he jumped into his car and gunned it at the patrol cars. And then he was leading him on a chase around PutInBay. And the woman, there was a woman in a golf cart. And he hit her and then kept going.
That's sad.
On South Bass Island State Park. He did not have a valid driver's license and appeared to be intoxicated. You know, they appear to be intoxicated. Probably a pretty good idea that they
Jury's
are.
still out on that one.
We've still got to run the blood and the breathalyzer and the fingerprints and the whole bit. But yeah, so you missed all the fun.
I guess
up
so.
there.
Yeah.
You missed this young woman being airlifted and.
I did have a buddy. He came in town to do some comedy and just hang out. So Friday night we went to the Guardians game, and then after the game, he's like, "Hey, can we get something?" He's a Southern dude, and he's like, "Can we get some food before we go to the next bar?" And I was like, "All right," because I was taking it easy, and so we go through McDonald's, and
This is on PutInBay?
No, this is Friday night, just after a Guardians game.
Oh, gotcha.
This is my buddy Cameron Leedy,
Yeah.
who was in town doing comedy, and he's out in New York, Mary. I don't know if you bumped into him.
I do not know him.
But he was, kind of on vacation because we didn't have any shows that night. So he's just doing tall boys at the Guardians game, like the double ones.
Boy.
So when we get into the McDonald's drive-thru, it's probably 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, and it's taking a little while. And then we finally get our food, and I turn to hand it to him, and he's just...
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, hey, we're not going to go to a second bar. We're just going to go back to my place. And he's like, I kind of wanted to do that anyway. I just thought you wanted to go have one more. I'm like, I did not want to have
One more.
We can just go. We can just go back, and you can fall asleep.
Wow.
And put my guest room to use.
So you were babysitting all weekend?
Not really. I mean, in PutInBay, I just didn't get blackout drunk,
Right.
like Tommy did.
Right.
I mean, I still wasn't in any shape to drive an automobile or anything like
Right.
that. And then, Friday, go to the game, you have a couple pops. I don't like to get wasted at baseball games. I like to know what's going on.
Yeah, I didn't get when we went to the Guardians Sox game. I didn't see any fights or anything.
And that was
Why would there be?
Huh?
Why would there be?
Because the past handful of games, there's been like fights that are going viral. I want to see that stuff.
At baseball?
Yes. There was that dude, those 2 old guys that like got his clock cleaned by the other guy.
I think that was at the night that Pound Cake was the Guy walking the ball out.
Pride night.
Yeah, it's Pride
That's
night.
what it was.
Yeah.
I didn't sign up for no gay baseball.
First they call them Indian. They're not called Indians anymore, and they're gay.
Yeah. Yeah, but these two dudes were fighting each other.
Yeah.
This ain't right. This ain't right.
Gotta take our country back. I didn't know we were coming here on gay night.
Right. I swear to God, if there's a drag queen in the outfield, I'm out of here.
What, is she reading to a kid?
Now I know why they all want them dollar dogs.
Yeah, man. Stitch them together end to end. Yeah, no, every once in a while, you gotta. It's pretty rare, though. Baseball is fantastic. We were talking earlier about, what's more fun to see live or on television, and I'm a baseball guy. I love baseball. It's summertime, you're outside, you're having fun. Maybe you'll make friends near you, right? If you're at a football game, in the Midwest or out here, you're bundled up. It's less fun.
See, I thought I thought baseball was my favorite sport for a long time. And when I got sober, I realized, oh no, I liked being day drunk.
You like drinking, yeah.
That's it. And because I never really went to nighttime games. I was always at day games, hammered at noon. That's what I liked. And then during the pandemic, because when everything went away, the excitement I felt when football came back. It was just 4 years ago that I accepted, football is my favorite sport. Definitely, because I did not feel that excited when baseball came back. I was like through the roof happy when football was back.
Wow.
I like them all.
I like baseball.
I like baseball. I like football. I like basketball. They're just fun. I love hockey. It's all
Hockey's
good.
great, too.
Yeah. I'll go to a lacrosse game. I like live events.
I've
I
got
like live sports.
I'm sorry. I've got to draw the line somewhere.
Thank you, Alan.
High lacrosse. I'll bet on them, but I won't go to them.
That was my sport.
I'm going to take a break here. Hey, want to go see the Black Dahlia Murder? Of course you do. Do you listen to our metal show? You've heard us play them. 2 hours to midnight, presenting the Black Dahlia Murder on the Beg to Serve tour, and then bringing a lot of good bands with them. It's going to go down at the Agora on October the 3rd. So I'll have a couple of tickets for you after the break. 35192. Want to get me for anything else? 5:30, by the way, is the next chance for you to grab $1,000. That next keyword coming from the Buzzard Bookie.
From the Universal Windows Direct Weather Center, WMMS Weather.
Tonight, partly cloudy, down to 69 degrees. On Tuesday, partly sunny. Scattered rain and thunderstorms, high of 88. Wednesday, mostly cloudy. Showers and thunderstorms. Wednesday's high, 82.
This report